This song you just played, you write it?
Working on it.
It's not an established song?
No, it's not an established song.
How come you're not playing during daytime? I see you every day.
You know, during the day, people want to hear songs they know, just songs that they recognize. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't make any money. I play these songs at night. They wouldn't listen.
I listen.
Yeah, but you give me 10 cents.
Well, you do it for money then? Why don't you get a job in a shop?
I'll have a job in a shop. Listen, I'm going to get back to this, yeah? Nice to meet you.
Who'd you write this song for, please?
No one.
Bullshit? Where is she?
She's gone.
She's dead?
No, she's not dead. She's gone.
You love her still?
Jesus, man.
Chris Scouser here with
Matt Howell. And this week on the first run, well, we're going to check out one of my most anticipated films of the year, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Is this going to continue the streak of excellent Spider-Man films? Are we going to have another light-hearted romp with Spider-Man? The answer is probably not. After that, we're going to talk about the physical releases on coming up for next week, and then we're going to wrap up the show with our 5 favorite Spider-Man things. Is that what we're calling it? Things?
Yeah, just something with the character, TV shows, the animated series, movies, any of them, comic books, just 5 things that you love about Spider-Man in any capacity.
Very good. All right, that sounds fun. So why don't you give us a little bit of Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Hi, my name is Peter Parker. You don't remember me, but we used to know each other. Something bad was going to happen, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget about me. Because I'm not just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
The hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van!
Quit your whimpering. Suit yourself. Mother.
Go home!
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. What is happening to me?
Matt, something's happening to good old Pete.
Yeah, it is happening to Pete. So why don't you tell us what Spider-Man Brand New Day is about?
All right, so we're taking off about, it's probably, I guess we jump around a little bit in time, because it opens, we're probably, 2-3 years later from the last film. And then when things kind of really get rolling, I think we're about 4 years, right? Because Ned and MJ have graduated to MIT at that point.
Right.
Unless they're like super smart people and they do it in 3.
Right. So I think it basically starts probably 6 months after the end of Brand New or No Way Home, because they were just accepted into MIT and they were just getting ready to leave at the end of that movie. And then when they start, they've just moved in, and then you have that time skip. So it's the bulk of the film takes 4 years. It takes place 4 years after No Way Home.
Thank you. Excellent. So Pete's now basically alone. He's Spider-Man. That's basically his life at this point. And what does he do for work?
That's a good question. I don't think they ever really say. He's not a photographer for the Daily Bugle. He's not a science teacher.
Yeah, that just occurred to me. Maybe, you know what? Stark probably left him some cash.
That's true.
I was assuming what happened. So, all right, we'll put that part to bed. So anyway, he is basically just fully now just Spider-Man. He fights crime on the streets. Which I appreciate, is very much a New York City boy this time. We're not out in space. And something strange is happening to him. His arachnid DNA, Matt, seems to be asserting itself and taking over more of his body's makeup. In the meantime, there seems to be this villain who is able to jump from body to body in search of something. And it's up to Peter to stop them before everybody he loves, even though they don't remember who he is killed, and he's able to save the day.
All right. So my question to you is this, Chris. Are you in the camp where you're not happy unless Peter Parker is absolutely miserable?
So funny you mention that. Partly yes.
Okay.
So this is the Spider-Man that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one I read in the comics. Now I dipped back into Spider-Man, specifically at Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man issue 95, which was the first appearance of the black costume in that series. All right, I didn't pick up 252 of Amazing Spider-Man until I think a little ways later. I actually ran with Spectacular for a while before I jumped into Amazing. And that was when Peter, like, struggling to pay the bills. You know, he's in a relationship with the Black Cat, who I think is interesting. We have not had any appearance of yet in any of these films, at least Felicia Hardy, which I think would be an interesting foil and relationship for him, especially how it played out in the comics. But I guess I understand it because we're focusing on his relationship with MJ, which really is the crux of the whole film. But there is something about a lovelorn, crushed, and depressed Peter Parker that I do find engaging, because it really brings home to me the everyman quality of his character, what made him so successful, how you're able to identify with him, because you think with his powers and abilities that he'd be on top of the world, and really he's not, because of everything that he can do, but he can't be with the ones he loves.
Mm-hmm.
And it haunts him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate this side of it.
Yeah, it's a much darker film in the sense of just tone, whereas the previous films, as much as I love them, are very much high school Peter Parker, and I guess I understand maybe they didn't want to torment a high school kid quite as much as they did in the comics, right up there on the screen. And they had the kind of whole bigger, connection to Tony Stark, and being kind of adjacent to the Avengers and all this cosmic fighting stuff. So I think all that was fine for what came before. I think this is a very different type of film, or at least a very different feel from what we've seen so far. I overall thought this movie was pretty successful. I think it doesn't hit quite the same notes as some of the other ones do, but what I liked here is really, really good. And the complaints I have are, some of it's just comic book nerd complaints, right? Some of it is kind of like they seem to be kind of rushing to get us there, so it seems a little disjointed in the beginning, but overall I thought this was really successful.
Oh, I had no issues with it really at all. I think that for me, first off, I'd be like, so MCU, Sony, right? It isn't so hard after all.
Right.
To make a really great, engaging, interesting, and fun superhero movie. MCU sometimes seems to struggle with it. Sony can't get out of their own way when it comes to these Spider-Man spin-off films. But here, it's absolutely fantastic, man. And I'm gonna say it. This may be my favorite Spider-Man film.
Okay.
For me, this may surpass Spider-Man 2 and the Into the Spider-Verse animated films as well.
Wow.
And the reason why is, well, not only do we get, I think, my favorite version of web swinging in the very kind of beginning. We kind of shy away from it as the film progresses, but the way that Cretton decides to do the action of him swinging through the streets of New York is fantastic. It really, you feel like you're there, like you're doing it with him. It's really well done, and there are some great action scenes in this as well. I love basing the film, like I said, in New York City. We get a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man movie, basically, right? We get the introduction of Captain DeWolf, which is, again, if you remember the whole Sin Eater storyline as well, that was a big one from when I was a kid reading the comics, though obviously we don't touch it on any of that. It's more the introduction of the character. And I was getting tired of Space Spider-Man and Iron Man suit Spider-Man. And we have a more grounded, air quotes, realistic, authentic kind of Spider-Man now, the one that I grew up with. This, of course, this is, middle-aged Gen X Chris talking about, finally getting kind of exactly what he grew up. It's like when Gunn gave me the Superman movie, at least the Superman that I've always wanted. It's the same thing here. I think Cretton does a great job too, where we get the classic cover homages again, but it plays out, I think, thankfully, as an opening montage and not kind of peppered through with these longer kind of extravagant scenes. And I'll say this, Matt, why the thing works as well as it does, it is the most emotionally deep and resonant Spider-Man film, if not superhero film, that I can think of, that I've watched, and as far as I can remember. No lie, Matt, I was holding back tears at least twice in this film because Cretton and the crew, Holland, Zendaya, all of them play it so well. The rooftop reunion scene that gets torn away from him, and then the reveal between the two of them. I'm trying to avoid spoilers when that character has the most obvious and completely honest reaction that they would have. But the fact that they play it that way and they don't punk out and allow the person, and give them the happy reunion. Though we get a little bit of that later on with some other characters, which we can talk about too. But for me, Peter grows up, not just physically, because let me tell you, man, Holland is ripped now. All right. He's no longer 17, right? Or 15 or whatever, right? He's what, 22, I guess, in this film, maybe he's supposed to be. And my boy he's jacked at this point. But he's emotionally, the whole film actually is about him going on an emotional journey to accept the decisions he made and to grow into the man that he's going to be. And I love it.
Yeah. I think my complaints are minor, right? I agree. I would agree with Chris's two scenes as being very emotionally devastating. I think the scene at the end with his kind of flashback with Aunt May is also very moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my questions are, and I don't...
Out of all of them, that was the one that felt the most forced.
Do you think so?
That was more plot servicey.
Okay.
Because it just didn't, the conversation didn't feel that natural to me, while the other ones felt just spot on.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Marissa Tomei's Aunt May, so I was happy to see her back, and I thought it worked for me. Maybe I'm just more of a softie than Chris is. But I think the two things that I want to ask Chris are kind of spoilery, so I don't want to ruin it for people, but I do really, really want to ask Chris these questions. So,
well, we could talk. Let's pocket it.
Okay.
We'll do a spoiler discussion if there's any, at the end, if there's anything else you want to talk. Like, do you have any thoughts on Barenthal's The Punisher? I think the relationship between the two of them is great and helps inject the humor that I think this film would desperately need if it didn't have it. We do have kind of a jokey Spider-Man, but not so much because he's also dealing with the biological shift that is brought on by his isolation, right? But when he gets to interact with Barenthal, the film really does kind of come alive. And the fact, I think it helps the two of them have known each other for 10 plus years, and they're very close. So that really comes through on the camera. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought Barenthal was very good. I mean, I think the Punisher was an interesting choice. The only thing, I still think Barenthal maybe yells too much. Does the Punisher really yell that much? Everybody's doing anything. But overall, I thought it was a really good relationship. I thought it was going to be kind of a quick cameo in the beginning, but not the case. It kind of plays throughout the film. And I will say that I was very, very pleased that everything that you see in the trailer, for the most part, almost to the T, is like the first 15 minutes of the film. So like you're not really being spoiled on much of anything. So, kudos for them to putting that out there that way. Yeah. So overall, again, I was concerned that maybe I'm being biased because I love Spider-Man so much. I think it's neck and neck with me. I think it's right up there in that A tier for Spider-Man films. I don't know if I'm ready to say it's better than Into the Spider-Verse or even No Way Home, because I love No Way Home. But it's definitely an A film for me.
Yeah, it's another thing too I love is the suit. So the way to design the suit for this film is like, is it something he could have made, right? Which I think they focus on, which is nice. It does kind of have that homemade feel to it. Again, it's all relative. Right. But still, I think I love the suit about it. I think that's what it is I'm leaning into my nostalgia for the character that I grew up with. And Cretton and crew have delivered basically the exact Spider-Man that I've always had in my head and in my heart. I think that's why I love it as much as I do. I'm giving it an A as well, Matt. It's yeah. I watched all three of the prior films before going into this, and you're right. It is much more. It's much darker. It's much more adult. But I think it works for that reason, right? As you grow up, as it gets to say you're like 12 or something, 13 when you watch the first film, right? Now you've gotten older, and the films haven't really progressed. I don't think so much that way as I've gotten. They've all been kind of like you said. They've been similar in tone and look and all this stuff. And Cretton really amps up the game here, and we have a very fun but emotionally resonant superhero film that I think works for me on every level. So, all right, Matt, what do you want to ask me? Spoiler time, folks. You're going to want to jump in. Matt, when you do the time codes, make sure we denote that this is spoiler talk now.
Okay. So my two questions are this. One, what did you think about Jean Grey being the villain and being as cold and kind of monstrous as she is? Now, I understand that she becomes one of the great villains of Marvel Comics, right? With the, Phoenix Force and all this kind of stuff. But it seems like we're starting her off on like a really dark foot.
Well, she doesn't kill anybody, right?
Yeah, she does. She walks a guy out into traffic and he gets hit by a car.
Is that right? I forgot about that. Huh. That kind of then takes away the whole thing when Spider-Man stops her from killing the other guy at the end. Mm-hmm. Maybe he didn't die. Maybe he's okay.
Yeah, maybe he just got hit by a Prius going 40 miles per hour and he's fine.
Exactly. Well, they got the crumple zone.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting. I expected more from a post-credit sequence as well because of that. I thought, well, this is right. So the first mutants we had were Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Right.
But they weren't even called mutants, right?
Yeah, right. Because they couldn't do it then. Were they Inhumans technically, or they just never touched it?
No, they were basically made using one of the Infinity Stones, the red one, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they're that Magneto's kids.
Yeah.
All right. So they don't. So then is this it? I thought there was somebody else that was.
So Ms. Marvel in the show, she was described as a mutant. In the comic, she's an Inhuman, but in the show, she's a mutant.
Okay. Well, so Gray, though, I thought we'd basically anticipate the film should be dropped off at, the school, at Xavier's school. That's kind of how I thought the film was going to end, but it doesn't end that way. But she is clearly going up north. So who knows? Maybe that is where she ends up. If that exists in this reality, or if that reality is going to be slammed into this one after Secret Wars or something. I don't know what's going to happen. Though Marsden and crew, they're all in Doomsday, right?
Yeah, I don't know. All of them are in.
Stewart,
I think
Kellen.
Those three are for sure. I don't know. Like, I know Famke Janssen's not. I know she's made some comments that they didn't ask her to come back. But yeah, I don't know. But I know some of the old Fox X-Men are coming back.
I haven't heard anything about Romaine or Lawrence either.
No.
Either of the Mystiques, right? So, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It is odd making her a villain. I don't think you're going to introduce Jean Grey, particularly the fact that the way her arc works is that she does have her, I guess, moment of redemption, but I guess maybe she doesn't really face justice. But she escapes and she leaves. So I anticipate then she'll join the X-Men because she's an Omega. Is that what they call it? An Omega level mutant? What is the highest level?
Yeah, she is an Omega level mutant. She's in the comics, she's a telepath and a telekinetic, which means she can move things with her minds and she can read minds. Professor X is a much stronger telepath than she is, but she's like has no limit to her power for like telekinesis, being able to move stuff with her mind.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's fine. I'm not particularly attached to any of the X-Men characters, really. So I think as a way to kind of backdoor pilot her as an X-Man or the mutants into this universe, I think it's fine. I didn't have so much. I think Sadie Sink does a good job of expressing the pathos and the depression and the sheer just drive to find out, the John Wickification of her, to find out what happened to her sister with her powers, being abandoned by her parents, having nobody. I think, and I think how she connects with Peter at the end. I think, I didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, no, I think it works overall. I just didn't expect her to be such an evil villain. All that stuff that she does is pretty freaking cold, man. Especially some of that stuff when she takes over people's minds and she starts messing with Peter. Those things are pretty messed up. The other thing I had a question is basically at the end, right? All of these changes he's going through is basically turning him into the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Basically, he's got organic web shooters. He's a lot stronger. He's a lot faster. His spider sense is way stronger. They even do a couple of homages to that where he's dodging the throwing stars in slow motion and just kind of looking at them as they pass, kind of very similar to what we saw in the Raimi films. So is that a cop out to you? Does that feel a little cheap and show like maybe Sony's is like kind of reining in some more of their control?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it that way. I just thought about it as a way to illustrate the progression of the arachnid DNA slowly taking over his body.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't particularly care for it, if I'm being honest with you. I prefer my Spider-Man to have mechanical web shooters. I don't like the organic ones in any capacity. But the other stuff with the enhanced abilities, senses, and all that stuff, I was mostly fine with it. In fact, I will say, I think this is my favorite instance of the description or illustration of Spidey sense that we've had too in the films today. Listen, I'm saying it's my favorite. I want to give Raimi his flowers. That particularly part 2 was still great. And if you needed someone to make a comic book movie, Raimi would be at the top of your list because his style just beautifully maps right onto that genre. But this is more of a straightforward kind of storytelling. It doesn't have the flair of a Raimi film, but I just think, again, there's so much more that outweighs Raimi's particular peculiarities and his direction style that I just like this more.
Sure. Okay.
So, all right, Matt, my question's for you. So you stayed through the end of the film. You saw the final.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that about? Spider-Man location beeper going off in space.
Yeah, I'm assuming that means he's on Battle World, and or whatever it was called for Secret Wars, and that's where he is.
Ah, okay. I thought they were going to introduce like an alternate dimension Spider. Maybe they're going to... Miles Morales is going to come crashing in or something with somebody else too.
Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales are going to come flying in.
Yeah, maybe. Could be. That's good. I wouldn't want another alternate dimension. We already had, we had Garfield and Maguire show up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know if I need any other. And in the end, so does Ned remember him?
Yeah. That I don't know. I have a feeling that like the next one is going to smash cut being to like he doesn't know Ned's just like humoring him or something. Because I don't get how Ned could remember him so easily, but Zendaya has nothing. But
he did the whole handshake thing that they did.
Yeah, I know.
Together.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
and we have that scene, what I believe was MJ twirling the Black Dahlia thing that he had given her as well.
Right. Right. So I guess maybe it is setting it up. Maybe we're going to set it up to where, Ned's going to remember. The next one's going to be, MJ's going to remember, but then maybe she's not going to come back to him anyway. Right. I don't know. Because we're keeping with torturing Peter Parker. But do you think we're going to get Gwen Stacy in any of these?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally, you know me, any longtime listeners to the show know I'm a big softie. In the end, I want Love to be able to conquer Doctor Strange's spell.
Mm-hmm.
And that the two of them, that she does remember.
Yeah.
Or she gives him a shot and they fall in love. And then when she hits that I do love him moment, everything comes rushing back. Something like that, right? And I know these words coming out of my mouth as a 1-year-old man is just absolutely pathetic. But it's still something I would really love to see in another film. I don't know. How many is he done? How much is he contracted for? He's in Doomsday and stuff too, right?
He is in Doomsday. Yeah, I don't know how much further. I think he's got to have one more standalone film. I don't think they can leave it like this, right? But you're right. He's getting old. I mean, he's in his 30s now. I mean, that's not old, but that's old to be kind of doing this for such a long amount of time. And he's, kind of putting his body through all this stuff. But at the same time, look at all the actors who left that are suddenly all coming back, right? Because, after a few years of not getting a paycheck, maybe they need one kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's got to be at least set up for one more. I would prefer if it would be another two more standalone Spider-Man films, because then you would have that kind of symmetry of a first trilogy and a second trilogy. But we'll see.
He is exactly 30.
Okay.
And I guess the last thing I will say is, if you hadn't heard, I guess what it is, Matt, people have clearly spoken, and they do not care for new original films. They want established IP and no original ideas.
Sure.
Because this, packed with the Odyssey, Toy Story 5, we've had a massive. In fact, AMC reported the best weekend they've ever had because of that. Those three films. In fact, Spider-Man: Brand New Day will make $1 billion probably by the end of this week, if not sooner. The worldwide box office is $932 million right now, as of the recording of this episode. It's just insane, absolutely insane. My theater was packed. I saw it in the Dolby, and it was fantastic. All right, A's across the board here. What are your thoughts on Spider-Man: Brand New Day? Would love to hear from you. Feedback at thefirstrun.com. So is this a favorite of the Holland films, though, for you?
I think I want to watch it again, and I think I'm gonna have to watch No Way Home because that was my favorite of the Holland films. But it might be. This might be the best one. But I do want to watch it one more time before I make final judgment.
All right, you'll have to report back to us then. How about you folks? Where do you rank it? Let us know. Again, feedback at thefirstrun.com. Matt, let's run through what's coming up next week. Not now. What's coming up next week? Yes, on physical media. Because I'm all excited because it's not a lot of films, but it is a massive. We get some big things dropping. So let's get into it.
That was bad music, and there is nothing as bad in this world as bad music.
You know you can record over tape.
No. That was a novelty act. You want to have actual sexual intercourse, right?
Yeah. What?
The girl. It's all about the girl, isn't it?
Yeah, the girl, yeah.
And you're gonna use somebody else's art to get her? Are you kidding?
We're just starting. We need to learn how to play.
Did the Sex Pistols know how to play? You don't need to know how to play. Who are you, Steely Dan? You need to learn how not to play, Connor. That's the trick. That's rock and roll. And that takes practice. And you're not a covers band, by the way.
Really?
No. Every school has a covers band. Every pub has a covers band. Every wedding has a covers band. And every covers band has a middle-aged member who'll never know whether they could have made it in the music industry or not because they never had the balls to write a song for someone else. Rock and roll is a risk. You risk being ridiculed.
But I don't know how to write a song.
Close that door and sit down.
Really?
It's gonna be a long night.
I have school in the morning.
This is school.
That, of course, is Jack Rayner, and I apologize, a guy I can't remember the star of the movie, from Sing Street, being released by Lionsgate Limited with a 4K Steelbook this upcoming Tuesday. And that is, of course, August 11th. Matt, John Carney's film, wonderful film. You've seen Sing Street, right? Did we cover it for
Yeah,
the
we
show?
did it for the show. We loved it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I love Carney's films. And also, too, I want to take a moment to just say we played it in the obit at the beginning of the show. Glenn Hansard's passing in a horrible motorcycle accident. Absolutely crushed me. One of my all-time favorite singer-songwriters. He's in my kind of pantheon. I'd probably, obviously it's Bowie, right? I have Queen, I have Frank Black, but he's in that list for me. I don't, nobody ever sang kind of with, for me, the emotion and dedication to his art that I think Dan Hansard did. Absolutely a legend, and unfortunately, we have lost him. So if you haven't seen Once, John Carney's first film, which he did with him, absolutely a perfect movie. I adore it so much. Very simple, very small, but very beautiful. So if you haven't seen Once, go ahead and check it. I checked. It's not streaming anywhere. You'd have to rent it, but it is well worth your time. All right, Matt, let's count them down.
Number 5.
I'm going to go with, for me, Black Belly of the Tarantula. Cellular Dreams is releasing this legendary giallo. This is a limited edition that's only available on their website. It's going to run you 60 bills, all right, $60. But you can only buy this deluxe edition from them. I think if you sit tight, there will be a conventional, traditional release down the road. But if you want this deluxe one that has like these classic replicas of the art cards, poster, slipcase, all that other stuff, 80-page book, you're going to want to jump on this limited edition set as well. And they also include the international version of the film. They expanded it, added a second Blu-ray for the special features too, because they wanted to get as much quality on this as possible. So I am very much looking forward to picking up that one.
4.
Hokum is being released in 4K and Blu-ray. This is Damian McCarthy's new film with Adam Scott. Includes an audio commentary by the director, behind the scenes, making of, documentary, and a short film called Ack the Donkey, a family favorite.
Get 3 coffins ready.
Huh?
Lionsgate concludes, how about continues, with their exclusive releases with The Furious, a film, again, I keep threatening Matt they're going to do for the show, a martial arts maelstrom of violence and action. Includes deleted scenes and making of featurette and the theatrical trailer. Here's one, Matt, that some people wondered, was it ever going to be released in physical media?
Well, you two lovebirds take it easy, okay?
Only available in a 4K Steelbook, but only in HDR, not with Dolby Vision. Barbarian is being released in 4K. Includes an audio commentary by Zach Krieger and a behind-the-scenes making of featurette and some deleted scenes, which will be included on the Blu-ray that's part of this set. I bought this digitally a long time ago when it first came out, right? Because you couldn't buy it physically, but now it's here. Are you going to be picking up Barbarian on 4K?
Yeah, definitely. That's one I've been waiting for.
So there you go. And then finally, there can be only one of the better films I'd say this year, Hail Mary, being released, includes Dolby Vision and Atmos, audio commentary by the directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, 5 deleted scenes, and then a making of featurette. I keep hearing rumors that there's an IMAX expanded ratio version that's going to be included, but it may also have only been in the Steelbook set that is already sold out. I don't know. So you're going to have to do your own research on that, folks, and try and find out on that one. But I'll definitely be picking up Hail Mary. But the good thing about that is I think, honestly, if you sit tight for Black Friday, you could probably get it for like $15 at that point. I've been waiting on The Bride, and there's something else too I've been sitting on because I feel like they know no one's going to be buying The Bride. Nobody. I don't think that many people liked it as much as I did. So I at one point pre-ordered like the $40 Steelbook, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't like Steelbooks traditionally. And I bet you I'll probably be able to pick this up pretty cheap later on. So I canceled it because it's called Growth. It's called Becoming an Adult Man. Also being released in 4K. MVD is putting out New York, in both the expanded international cuts. There's Ju-On, The Grudge, is being released in 4K from Arrow. We do get a Dolby Vision presentation of the film and includes all the archival featurettes in that. I have the Blu-ray box set of the entire series. So I can't imagine I'll be upgrading for a 4K for that. Mars Attacks being released in 4K as well as a Steelbook if you'd rather have that. The Descent Part 2, another Lionsgate limited Steelbook 4K release that I believe you can basically only buy from their site. I like The Descent Part 2. It doesn't really make a lick of sense if you watch the first film, but I guess maybe if you watch with the original ending. Regardless, I think it's underappreciated. And then we did talk about Sing Street Matt, which includes a new making of little featurette on that, and then a writer-director Q&A with Carney. Oh, but it does include Maroon 5's Adam Levine, so I don't know if you want to watch that. All right, Matt, let's go ahead and close up the show then and talk about our 5 favorite Spider-Man things.
There he is! Get him! What for? He hasn't done anything yet. Quick, Brutus, put him in. See? I told you! Now capture him! Which one? I don't care which one! Get them both! That man's an imposter. That man is the imposter. There can't be 2 Spider-Men. Let's take them both in! Hold on a second. We'll have a showdown to prove which of us is the real Spider-Man, and you can unmask the loser. That's fair enough. But no tricks.
No tricks, Matt. That is the origin of the Spider-Man 2 pointing at each other meme. It's actually just 2 of them from the original animated series from 1967. But that's my number 5, but it's not what you think. It's not the animated series, though I think out of all of them, next to maybe Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which is the one I grew up with, but the 60s cartoon I absolutely loved, and it's specifically probably because of Ray Ellis's music. He's got this very large, big swing jazz feel to all the little musical interludes. You heard it a little bit there. If you want to rewind it, you can listen to it again. You can go on YouTube and just search like Spider-Man 60s Ray Ellis. You can hear kind of all the little musical clips that he included for the show's themes, as well as, of course, the big theme song itself, which you do hear replicated to this day in the movies. But that's my number 5, is Ray Ellis's just a big band jazz 1960s Spider-Man score.
All right. Very good. All right. So my number 5 is the 2014 short run Spider-Man and the X-Men. And basically what happens is Wolverine convinces Spider-Man, Wolverine's dying wish, I won't get into that, it didn't stick, but his dying wish was for Spider-Man to go be a teacher for the X-Men. So he shows up at what's now called the Jean Grey School for Gifted Youngsters, and they put him in a class. Except this class is full of the weakest, weirdest mutant powers that it would be absolutely useless as a superhero. And oh, by the way, because he's not a mutant, nobody in the school respects him at all. It is actually really funny. It gives like kind of all the best of Peter trying to kind of connect with these kids, kind of thing. A very a stand and deliver whatever kind of stuff going on. But it's a lot of fun. And of course, Peter being Peter Parker, he wins them over. But just the fact that he's teaching this group of misfit mutants is hilarious.
I've never seen that. That's a fun one, man. I gotta check it out. My number 4 then would be probably up to today my favorite Spider-Man movie, which is Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi, as we talked about earlier in the show, just perfectly kind of captures the superhero comic booky vibes. And it's just a blast, and particularly that train fight scene between Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, just an all-timer for superhero fights. So yeah, that's my 4, Spider-Man 2.
All right, my number 4 is the Spider-Man cartoon that came out after the X-Men. Now, the X-Men, if you'll remember, in the 90s was a big deal, if you were even alive in the 90s, because it was really the first time we were getting a Marvel Comics, and I was super, super excited, even though I was kind of too old for the demographic for a Spider-Man version to come out. Wasn't as good as the X-Men, but it was really the first time you saw the potential of the character when they were doing it right. It was, had money behind it. The animation was good for a while anyway, until the later seasons. The stories were pretty true to the comic. So it was a lot of fun, that kind of late 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
I think I saw like a few of the episodes. Who was Spider-Man in that one? Why am I blanking on who it was?
That's a great question. I don't remember.
Like he had a TV show or a sitcom, I think, too. And then I can't remember who it was. Yep, Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Okay.
Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s. And who was he? Prince Eric and the Little Mermaid. I thought there was something else too that I would recognize him from in a heartbeat. Oh, he was Greg Brady in the Brady Bunch movie. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good times. Oh, Starman, the TV show from the 80s. I remember that one too. Let's just listen as Chris goes over his Wikipedia page. My number 3 then was unfortunately botched because of intercompany politics at Marvel Comics, but it was the mystery of the true identity of the Hobgoblin. Probably my favorite villain of the Spider-Man rogues, because again, he was like the main guy when I grew up reading the Spider-Man comics, and it was always a big mystery who actually was the Hobgoblin. And they had it all planned out who it wanted to be, but then the editor, I can't blank on his name now, stepped in and said, nope, I don't want him to be that character, so we're going to do it somebody else. And eventually, was it Tom DeFalco?
Mm-hmm.
Or David Michelini? Regardless, eventually he got to do the version of it that he wanted to do. And he got to see the reveal of who the Hobgoblin actually was from the beginning. But it was unfortunately botched, which I'll never forgive them for. But the Hobgoblin mystery was a great read that took like years to, I guess, eventually finally properly pay off.
All right. My number 3 then is a comic by Jeff Loeb. He did a series. He does what's called a color series. So I think his first one and probably his most famous was Daredevil Yellow. He's also done Hulk Gray and Captain America White, which came out relatively recently, and I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I like how that one sounds, but his best one by far of the ones that I've read is Spider-Man Blue. And it's essentially the retelling of the story of the death of Gwen Stacy through flashback. And Spider-Man is, swinging around doing his thing. He's been Gwen Stacy's been dead for years. He's married to MJ, and he's basically talking into a recorder, kind of leaving little notes for Gwen as if he's talking to her, around as the anniversary of her death approaches.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never read that. So my number 2 then again is a comic book related, and it's the Saga of the Black Costume. That's what brought me in.
Mm-hmm.
For Secret Wars issue 8, when he gets the costume, Amazing Spider-Man 252, Spectacular 95, then of course the classic Charles Vest cover of Web of Spider-Man 1, when Peter finally confronts and air quotes defeats the alien symbiote. And unfortunately, though I guess it started out cool, the Venom mania just was entirely too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked how it all kind of started, and the costume kind of taking him over while he slept, to go fly around or swing around at night, slowly kind of feeding off of him, eventually to take over his entire body and his life. It was the design of it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks so cool, and then just the whole storyline it's what brought me back in the comics, like in my early teens or like 12 or whatever it was that it came out. So yeah, that's my 2.
All right. So I kind of flip back and forth on my 1 and my 2, but I think I'm going to go with this as my number 2. While I don't know, like Chris, if this still holds the pantheon or the top seat for any of Spider-Man films, I was surprised at how good it was, and how much I was blown away with it, which is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, kind of bringing in Miles Morales, which was never really my Spider-Man, kind of bringing in Spider-Gwen, which again was kind of a one-off thing that they've kind of really now started to establish. And I think it all worked way, way better than it had any right to. And I think just what they were able to pull off was just crazy amazing to me about how well they did that.
No, yeah, you're right. Both of those films are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My number 1 then is more just characterization.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it earlier in the show. It's sad, struggling Peter. It's the everyman superhero. He's not Superman, right? Where he has everything basically around him is fantastic for the most part. He's not Batman, who has all these toys and all this money. He can basically do what he wants to do. He's a guy struggling to get by, pay his rent, and then occasionally save people around the city, and then sometimes the world. And that struggling, deeply human version of Spider-Man is one I've always loved, the common man. And that's my favorite thing about him as a character.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess that's fair. I guess if I had thought about it more, I could have said that was something like that was my favorite thing about Spider-Man. But my favorite Spider-Man thing that I listed was the Insomniac Spider-Man game series. The kind of way it just puts you into it, the voice acting, the storyline, all of the villains, it does for Spider-Man, at least for me, what those Batman Arkham games did for Batman fans. And just what Insomniac was able to pull off was just short of just fantastic. I cannot believe how well they pulled all that off. And it's funny, even in the new film, there's many homages to the game and some of the shots they do. Like when they're doing the cover montage, he like jumps up onto a rooftop and there's a bunch of bad guys up there. That's just like at the game. Even them flying over the edges and them catching them before they fall. All that is stuff pulled straight from the game. So if you've played the game, you'll see that in the new film as well.
Yeah, I think I bought it like 5 years ago.
Did you? Have you played it like one time? I think you said that you didn't like the web swinging, which blew my mind.
I can't remember what it was, but I basically played it for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I haven't gone back to it. I should, because I still want to play the new Bond game and the new Indiana Jones movie, but I have other stuff. I've had Borderlands 4 for 5 years now. There's another one out already, and I haven't even, It's because I spend too much time watching movies is what it is. But that's that, folks. What's your favorite? What's your favorite thing about Spider-Man? Comics, movies, characters, whatever. We'd love to hear from you. Feedback at thefirstrun.com. Matt, I'm going to ask you what's coming up next week on the big show, but the problem is I don't think it's actually going to be wide yet.
Okay. Well, what's on the calendar is Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
And we'll have to see. There's an Ice Cream Man, the new remake by Eli Roth, but Eli Roth is an unrelenting POS.
Right.
I really have no interest in seeing his films. I have not seen a single Super Troopers movie, though part 3 is coming out.
Right.
So,
Well, I will say this. I took my nephew to go see Toy Story 5, and it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Maybe if it's still playing. Now, I will say, too, it looks like my big AMC does not have everything listed yet. So maybe things will shift. Matt, you'll have to check where you are as well. Maybe we'll shift to Toy Story then if Can't Miasma is not actually out or we don't come up with something else. In the meantime, check us out at thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows. The report card, Matt, is updated up through her private hell. So it's the only one that hasn't been done. Oh, now, of course, this episode isn't there as well. There's also archives of all the old shows. There's a little player. Just hit play and start rifling through episodes. Hit us up at, where else? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Blue Sky. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. Matt and I are both on Letterboxd. I'm at Chris Scalzo. He's at Thurston. Matt, I'm going to put together a Spider-Man list. I don't have a ranking list on my Letterboxd. So I'm going to do that. And if you haven't, you should probably do that too, or at least maybe update yours with a brand new day. And then I feel like there's something else I would say. Oh, yeah. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review to help other people find the show, right? Right. And I guess that will be that. So we are now going to take an extended break. Love you all very much. Please take care of yourselves. I think my favorite Frames album is Burn the Maps. I know that may be sacrilege for some people for the birds. All right. Take care.